Hey friends, what's up y'all? It's Doris, your favorite stretch practitioner from Cloud Nine Recovery. I'm so excited to be filming my first ever stretch with me video. So just grab everything that you need. All you need is a yoga mat, nothing crazy. We're gonna go through a series of stretch sessions. So grab your yoga mat, your water, and let's get started. So first thing I want you guys to do, shake it out. We're gonna get a little bit more comfortable and get a little bit more relaxed for what we're about to do today. Close your eyes. We're gonna inhale for 5, hold for 2 seconds. Exhale nice and slow for 5. What that exhale needs to look like, an ugly sigh. I want to hear your ugly sigh. We're gonna inhale all of the positive energy, exhale all of that negative energy. So inhale for 5, holding for 2 seconds. Exhale nice and slow for 5. Yes, ma'am. Do that a couple more times. Inhaling for 5. Holding for 2, nice and slow. Exhale for 5. Gently placing one hand on top of our chest, the other one goes on top of our stomach. Inhale for 5, feeling your stomach expand. Nice and tall. Holding for 2 seconds. Exhale for 5. Do this a couple of more times. I'm gonna be quiet and let you guys focus, turning to the side so you can see my stomach expand. Last time through. Awesome. When you are ready, we are going to place our hands here on our bony landmark. We're into our assessment period. So here we are, pushing our hips to each side of the room, nice and slow, feeling those angles, feeling what might be sticky here, what might feel funny, is there some tightness? Just pay attention to what's going on. Rotate in the opposite direction whenever you're ready. Awesome. Couple more times here. Again, figuring out what's going on in those hips. Placing your arms up above your head. You're gonna squat 3 times. This is just another assessment tool that we're gonna use. Functional movement screening. Coming down nice and slow. Figure out, wow, am I getting any depth here? Is it a little bit of pinching? A little bit of tightness? Just figure out what's going on. Dropping down. Awesome. Dropping your hands back down to your side. We're gonna take it up to the front of your mat. Walking our hands out. We're diving over a beach ball. 3, 2, 1. Dropping our knees down here, sinking back into child's pose. Remember that breathing technique here. Inhaling for 5, holding for 2, exhale for 5. Last breath here. Awesome. Coming up onto all fours here. We're gonna get into somewhat of a pre-Pilates movement. You see what I'm doing there? Because you guys are gonna take my Pilates class right after this. You're gonna lift that foot up. We're gonna pull our foot towards the inside of our body, rotating it also towards the outside. This is called poodle tail. So internal rotation to external rotation in that hip. Again, another assessment tool just to figure out what's going on, but this is also a great way to open up those hip flexors in a most light and non-intensive form. Remembering to breathe. And remember, we're just going within the limits that our body is telling us to go. 2 more times here on this side. Awesome. Returning that foot down to the ground, picking that other foot up. We're gonna rotate away from our body. Rotate internally towards our body. Again, checking out that hip flexor, seeing what it's doing, seeing what kind of limitations we may have here. 2 more times here on this side. Awesome, ladies. When you're ready, we're gonna take this elbow. We're gonna go inward towards our other elbow, rotate up for some lumbar or thoracic rotation. Coming in nice and slow, picking up. We're gonna do this about 5 times each side. So that was my second time. Rotating up, this is my third. Awesome, allow your eyes to follow. This is my fourth. Last time through here, touching that elbow. This is my fifth, rotating towards that opposite side. You might start to feel it in your shoulders a little bit. That's okay. We need a little bit of strength work. Mobility is important. Touching that opposite elbow, rotating up. This is 2. This is 3. Awesome, ladies. Let's go. Touch. This is 4. One last time here. This is 5. We're gonna take that up a little bit. So taking that hand, crossing through for thread the needle, nice and slow. I like to hang out here just a little bit, rotating up. Awesome. Some of you have already seen these movements on my Instagram. If you wanna follow me at cloud9recovery_. You can definitely check out some of these sample movements. It'll be fun for you to do when you're sitting at home, sitting at your desk at work. I have a plethora of movements that you can perform on your own time. Switching sides, remember coming underneath. You can bend that opposite elbow just a little bit. Coming up nice and slow. Perfect. Awesome. We're here. We're going to sink our hips back into that resetting position for child's pose. Coming back up onto all fours. I'm gonna push up, have my foot in a half kneeling position. My hands are gonna go here on my hips. If you're already an advanced or flexible person, you can take those arms up in a balance challenge. So coming up nice and slow, pushing your hips down towards the ground, working on our hip flexor. Perfect for splits. Any ladies wanna get their split, this is perfect for you. Pushing the hips back, keeping this front foot planted. I think a lot of the times we have our heel up, which you can still get a good stretch, but I want you guys to take it all the way towards the end of what your muscle is letting you do. Sinking forward. Perfect. Sinking back. Awesome. Sinking backward. One last pass through. Beautiful. Sinking back. We're on that back side. Let's just hang out here. I'm walking my hands up forward, hanging out in this hamstring stretch, getting some maximal stretch here. We're gonna rock a little bit side to side, playing with the different angles and muscles in our hamstring. Remember to inhale for 5, holding for 2 seconds. Exhale nice and slow out for 5. Awesome, coming up. Let's change the angle. I'm gonna turn towards you a little bit. So we were here in the front. Now we're gonna go out to the side here. So pushing our hips out, nice and slow. Awesome, coming back up. Returning back to neutral as much as you can. Perfect for our adductors, perfect for our groin. Two more times here in this position, pushing your hip all the way out, nice and slow. Perfect, ladies. If you're feeling uncomfortable, if there's any tension there in that knee, you can definitely place a towel or a blanket underneath or some form of a cushion just to have some support on that opposite knee that's being loaded, okay? Switching sides, so I'm gonna go ahead and get that foot back out on that opposite side. We haven't worked on pushing our hips down. Perfect, towards the ground, sinking your hips back, nice and slow. Feeling that stretch, it is tight for me. Pushing forward, sinking back. Remember, if you want to challenge yourself, those arms can go up. We're in for a deeper stretch here because gravity is pushing us down a little bit further. Sinking back, keeping that front foot planted. Awesome. Sinking back one last time here. Awesome. Changing that side, I'm facing you this time. Same leg that we're working on, pushing our hips out. Beautiful. And pushing forward. Back into that neutral position, out. Ooh, one last time here. This is like killing me today. I'm super tight because I squatted at the gym. Whenever you are ready, returning back into that child's pose position, you will find that this is one of our neutral states. So just return and calm your nervous system down. Returning back to that tabletop position, we're going into our cat-cows. So what I want you to do is pull your belly button up towards the ceiling. Inhale, on the exhale, curving your spine. I actually had a yoga teacher, shout out to Ariana. She told me to moo when we are in our cow position and meow when we are in our cat position. I will not make y'all do that, but it is actually kind of fun when you do it by yourself when no one's watching. Nice and slow, 2 more times through. And exhale. Last pass through. Perfect, and exhale. Sinking those hips back. We won't stay here too long. We just got out of that. Coming out nice and slow, popping those feet up on the floor. We're gonna pedal. I need my calves to be a little bit looser today. I have a lot of things that I have to do, so my calves need a little bit of love, but typically the calves are overstretched. So if you aren't comfortable staying here for too long, if you don't necessarily need this, and that goes for any other stretch, you don't have to stay here. Just come out or skip ahead. You're totally entitled to that. Hanging out here, I'm gonna step down, shaking my head no, shaking my head yes. Awesome, coming down, sitting on our booties. We're going into our 90-90 hip flexor position. So what I want you guys to do, I have my feet here in almost like a windshield wiper parallel position. My hands are behind me. I'm gonna drop my knees down from one side to the next. Nice and slow. This feels good on my low back. Perfect. And when you are ready, drop it down towards that right side. I'm in this traditional cheerleader sit or a 90-90 hip flexor. I have one hand on knee, the other hand goes on top of ankle, pressing down. Nice and tall spine, almost as if I want to kiss the ground. Don't necessarily do that unless your house is clean. Coming down, picking back up, perfect. This is 3. We're going to do this 2 more times. If you're feeling fancy, place those arms behind your head. Keep a nice and tall spine. Drop it down, pick it back up. One last time. Beautiful. You will feel that in your hip flexor for sure. You will also feel that in the back of the glute. Now we're walking our hands out into almost this half pigeon position. Hang out here for just a minute. We're gonna inhale, hold for 2. Exhale for 5. One last breath here. When you're ready, take these same hands that we're working with, walk them back behind you. We're into this straight line. You'll feel it in your quad, your hip flexor, a little bit of QL lat. Reach behind you with that front hand. Swim, grace the ground like a beautiful ballerina. Pick it back up, nice and slow. Really get into this one. Really reach to get maximal stretch potential. Sometimes I'll take my arm down on the opposite side just to get a little bit more. Notice my eyes are following. Fully reaching, last pass here, gracing the ground like a beautiful ballerina, and returning up back to this neutral position. I'm gonna play with the other side here. So what I'm gonna do, pick this foot up, or pick this knee up, excuse me, drop it down. Beautiful, pick it up. Lift and lower, hip flexor stretch. It is okay if your leg does not look like mine. I promise you it took me forever to get here. And so with progress and patience, you'll get there. It's really not that serious, okay? Lift and lower. One last time through, lift. Beautiful, and lower, returning our knees back into this parallel position, dropping down left to right. Just do a check-in with yourself, figure out how you're feeling, how's your breathing. If you need to get a sip of water, this is your time to do so. Awesome, and whenever you are ready, dropping those knees down towards that opposite side, placing that one hand on the knee, other hand goes on top of ankle, keeping a nice and tall spine, dropping down, beautiful. Ooh, I feel this in my glute today, picking up nice and slow. Two more times here. Again, if you're feeling fancy, placing those arms behind your head, drop it down. Perfect. Walking your hands out, hanging out here in this position, half pigeon. When you're ready, picking those hands up, walking them back behind you. Hanging out here, feeling that stretch in that quad, hip flexor, QL, and you'll feel it in your lat. We'll reach behind us using that front arm, gracing the ground like a beautiful ballerina. Picking up, swim all the way through, grace the ground. Beautiful. Two more times here. Allow your eyes to follow your hand. Really reach. Walking your hands back to neutral, popping up. Beautiful. Picking that opposite foot up, or opposite knee. I keep saying foot when it's really your knee. Lift and lower for that hip flexor stretch. Two more times here. Beautiful. I think that was two. This will be my last one. How about that? Into this windshield wiper position one last time. We should be a little bit more even. I'm feeling this in my back, but when do I never not feel it in my back? Beautiful. All right, now for my favorite stretch ever, what we're gonna do is take our body, lay it on down, arms go above our head, toes are pointed towards the front of the room. We're hanging out here just for a couple of breaths. Inhale for 5. Holding for 2 seconds, exhale nice and slow. For 5. If this motion is hard for you, you can definitely place your arms on your stomach or on those bony landmarks here. Last breath here. We're gonna lift this leg, bring this knee, we're gonna hug, pull towards our chest here. Taking that same knee, and I'm gonna go underneath and I'm just gonna rock in some circles. Be sure to relax your neck. If you need to place a pillow or a towel underneath, that is your prerogative. But I don't want any tension in that neck. I think a lot of the times we just wanna see what's going on. Just relax, making circles, rotate in that opposite direction. Returning to a neutral position here. I have it almost at 90, but just a little bit over. So I'm gonna lift that leg into extension and lower. Notice there's a little bit of strain there, not too much. We're lifting and lowering. Lift, perfect, and lower. Lift and lower. On this last one, we're gonna lift, stay lifted. I'm rotating my ankle 3 times to the left and 3 times to the right. I think that was 3. Dropping it down, lift and lower. Getting a nice hamstring stretch. This will be important for when you guys go ahead and take my Pilates class. I promise you're gonna need this one. Taking this same leg, and this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna drop it down, crossing at the knee, placing our opposite hand on that knee. This other hand goes out. Lumbar rotation, hang out here. This is like so yummy, so delicious for my low back. Allow gravity to push you into the floor just a little bit deeper. And when you're ready, just return that leg down. Arms will go back above your head. Feet are going pointed towards the front of the room, hanging out here in this position. And when you're ready, pulling that other knee up towards your chest here, relaxing your neck, pull and hug towards your body. Just a couple of times, I almost like to do like little pulses just to see what my body is doing. And then we're gonna rotate. Rotate in the opposite direction whenever you're ready. You can hug underneath here. Return this knee to neutral. We're gonna lift in extension and lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. On this last one, we're gonna lift into extension. My knee just popped. Yes, it did. Rotate 3 times to the left. Rotate 3 times to the right. Awesome. Dropping it down. We're gonna lift and lower. Taking the same leg, I'm gonna let go, crossing it here, taking our opposite hand, dropping it down. Ooh, for lumbar. rotation, other arm goes down, hanging out here for just a couple of breaths. This is clearly my favorite too, if you guys couldn't tell. Allow gravity to sink you deeper into the floor. Returning your body back to neutral. Those arms go above your head, feet pointed towards the front of the room. I almost sometimes like to roll my ankles out. It just depends on how you're feeling. When you're ready, bringing both knees to your chest. You can hug underneath, over top, or in between for happy baby. Totally up to you. I'm gonna hold underneath, and then I'm gonna nurture a little bit. I'm rocking side to side, giving my lower back a little bit of love. Dropping your feet down, your knees stay up. I'm gonna just have my arms extended out towards the side, dropping down from one side to the next. Similar to our windshield wipers. Nice and slow. One last time down. Returning our knees back to neutral. We're gonna sit up. Whatever that looks like for you, try not to rush. I don't want anyone to be lightheaded. I'm gonna sit crisscross applesauce. You can sit here, you can sit here, you can have your legs out. As we work on upper body just a little bit, I'm gonna push my shoulders up towards my ears, drop them down. My hands are relaxed in my lap. Rotating towards the opposite direction. Beautiful. Returning back to neutral. Tucking my chin down to my chest. I'm gonna rotate, making half neck circles. I always start with the bare minimum and then make my way all the way around into that full neck circle. You may hear a little bit of crunching. That's totally normal, totally okay. Rotate in the opposite direction whenever you're ready. Beautiful. Returning your head back to neutral. I'm gonna fix my hair so I don't feel like a crazy person. Taking one hand, placing it on the opposite outer ear, dropping down. You're gonna feel this in the neck muscles. Breathing is super important here. Inhale. On the exhale, sit on this opposite hand. Sink deeper into this stretch. Be gentle, this is your neck. One last breath here. Returning our head back to neutral, switching sides, placing that opposite hand on the opposite outer ear, dropping down. Inhale, nice and slow. Exhale. I'm gonna go ahead and progress already, sitting on that opposite hand. If that is too much for you, that's totally okay. Come out of that stretch. I'm rocking just to add a little bit more intensity because my neck and shoulders tend to get really tight. Inhale. On the exhale, coming out of that stretch nice and slow. Just a couple more neck stretches here. We're gonna turn, find a corner of the room, placing our hand on the crown of our head, dropping down. I'm not gonna sit on my hand on this one. Just kind of hanging out. My ponytail is a little bit tight. So I'm not gonna be doing too much here. Returning back to neutral, switching sides, finding the corner of the room, hand on crown of head or ponytail of head. New cue here for me. Hanging out here, rocking, just as gentle as can be. When you're ready, returning back to neutral, placing both hands, they go behind your head, bringing your elbows together. We're gonna sink down and I'm gonna turn to the side so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Elbows out, bringing them in, crunching down. Here we are stretching the top of our back, top of our spine, in the lower part of our neck. Won't stay there too long, coming up nice and slow. When you are ready, gently, we just worked on neck. We're gonna stand. Inhaling nice and slow for 5, kind of recentering ourselves, catching our breaths and trying to not get dizzy as we just stand after working on neck. Placing our arms up for that functional movement screening that we did at the beginning. I'm dropping down nice and slow. Wow, I feel like I can move. I feel like I can go run a mile, honestly. Figure out what's going on with you. Have you made any progress? Is there a small win? Dropping our arms down. We're gonna inhale nice and slow for 5 seconds, holding for 2. Exhale for 5. Last breath here. Inhale for 5. Holding for 2. Exhale nice and slow out for 5. And if your eyes are closed, you can go ahead and open and give yourselves a round of applause because we are done with our stretch session today. Feel free to stay tuned, and I want you guys to venture out and check out all the things that we have to offer here. We have strength and Pilates, we have regular Pilates, stretch and Pilates, fusion, or just simply stretch classes like this one. So I want you guys to explore this page and really get into the meat potatoes, okay? Thank you guys, bye.